Hi there. Here's another one. A journal from March 8th of this year, 2010. And the Mayan day was 12. Alligator. It's called a neat trip. A barn burner. Oh, okay. Wow, that last one was a real barn burner. Phew. One just never knows what is going to come through when one sits down, in heart, of course, to journal. Oh, I've had plenty of years of doing the journal the other way. I spent my time in the trenches with the mind. It about drove me nuts too, because even though I was in the midst and in the grips of identifying with the mind, of seeing myself to whatever extent I could even see myself as the mind, as a mind-centric being, even so, I still had the heart, even back then. It's the heart, or what I call the heart, that drives us, that fires us up wherever we are. The heart is always there, is always true. Even though we can hardly hear it, the still small voice is always present too. We all come equipped with this. So that's what drove me, and it drove me hard. All along I've known that I'd be writing. Oh, I didn't know what, and that was a pain. That was an endless burr under the saddle for me, and it occupies so many hours and pages of the paper journal. I'm only a recent convert to doing them the electronic way. How I sought, how I pled with divinity, how I begged, bled, and pleaded for my awakening. No, I didn't exactly call it that, but that's what it amounted to, and I'm sure it helped somewhat, maybe a lot. It's just that somehow, don't know how this works exactly, but somehow and quite consistently, we never seem to get just what we prayed for. Have you noticed that? There's a trick to it, a few tricks to it, of course, that if we're sincere, we manage to pick up along the way. It's the sincere heart that carries us through. Divinity probably gives them to us, but we think we're the one picking them up anyway. If I could sum it all up, though, maybe I'd say it like this: a major vision overhaul is required. We just don't see things right. Our sense of reality is all screwed up, and that's what's wrong. Not reality, no, just our sense of it. And think about that one. When you look at the world, isn't the first thing you think about all the things that are wrong with it? Well, here I'm saying that's not the case. Our sense of it is what's wrong. And you have to leave your head for this, because if you're in your head, you totally object. So be in heart. It takes a good while, usually, before we see that, however. Usually lots of years, heck, lots of lifetimes, I guess, before we hone in. It should have been home in on this fact. It's our vision of things, our perspective, that's out of whack. Reality's just fine, like it is. Let me tell you, it's a real hoot when you get to see this one. Oh, it's funny, all right. Believe it or not, I've come to believe that Source or God, the isness, whatever, has this terrific sense of humor. Now, that may sound quite blasphemous to you right now, depending on what mental space you're occupying. But if you've managed to leave a lot of that behind and reside at least sometimes more in your heart, then you'll see that it's true. God has the coolest, freaking, wildest sense of humor there is. And there's no end of it either. If I ever get around to it, I'm going to write a book on that. It would do people good to help them see it. It really clears the vision, I can tell you. Oh, how I belly laughed till the tears just rolled, and all at the strangest, sometimes the wackiest things. There's no explaining this, however. Nope, you've got to do a little vision clearing yourself before you can experience it. It's an experience, it's not one bit mental. Actually, the mind kind of flips out at it a bit at first. It's a bit spooky. It really messes with your concept of God, whatever that is. Gives it a good adjustment, right in the ass, usually. Oh well, I suppose you've noticed the slip in my vocabulary of late. Got a freaking English degree, mind you. It was one of those I got somewhere along the way. Right, so I love to communicate. I even minor in that in one of my other degrees. I learned how to do it the supposedly right way, and now this? Shit. Oh well, it is what it is, and I'm game for that. Can you say that? Can you say it with any real meaning? It is what it is, and I'm game for that. I can tell you it's a really good space to be in. I don't care whether we call it heart or la la land or hell's bells. Those are all just words. Do you see? Words really don't matter. Oh, I mean, obviously words matter, but it's also just as true that they don't. Just as true. Both are equally true. Got that? They both matter and they don't, and equally. Both are actually powerfully true. I can make a really good case for either one, but I don't bother. Why not? Because it doesn't matter. No, I'm not just being flip here. Well, though I obviously am as well. But here's the thing. It's a pattern I've noticed, you see? Whenever I'm approaching something really good, something that's like real with the capital R, I've noticed that I see it both ways. I can see the both sides of it, both it and its opposite. Have I lost you? Well, then see it like this. It's more of God's sense of humor. Whenever she's got something totally awesome, something that's true with a capital T, it's two-sided. Both it and somehow its opposite are true. Go figure. I'm not in the business of explaining things here. That's no good. That's mind stuff anyway. So get out of the mind, go back into heart, go back to the beginning and listen again. Good